Can you guys see me? Because I think my screen is frozen. Okay. People are joining, so I'm assuming you can see me. Alrighty. Okay. So we have Nihan and Hamid who are back. Nihan,
Yes.
it's always so nice to have you in my marathon classes.
We are very devoted students.
I know. I love it. I love you guys.
Also, Hina, I am addicted to your lessons.
You're addicted. I know. I can tell. I'm happy for that, Hamid. And we also have Chao Pan. Looks like it's really hot in China today.
Yes.
Really?
And, yeah, actually, in the morning, I just stretch out some easy clothes. So
You're like, I'm chill. I'm chill. Are you sitting in your university's cafeteria?
what is cafeteria?
Where people eat, where you get food.
Could I see refectory?
Could you say what?
Or
Refectory?
Factory?
Refectory?
Refractory. No, I wouldn't say refractory. Refractory refers to your sense of hearing.
Oh.
Yeah. So a school cafeteria, for example, if you have lots of food stalls and you go and you get what you want to eat and then there are tables and chairs for you to sit and eat, we call that a school cafeteria.
Yeah, basically it is. Yeah.
All right, perfect. And you're wearing a jersey. You're wearing a basketball jersey, right?
Yeah.
Ah, I can tell. Nice. Alrighty. So we have Chao-Pen, we have Adriana. Welcome back, Adriana. Adriana, bring your A game on, girl. What's going on?
I don't know. I'll be at my. You have all my attention now.
Perfect, perfect. You guys know what the A game is? A game.
Like your best game, like the best you can.
Yeah, the best you can be. Perfect. So Adriana, bring your A game on. Alrighty. So Adriana, Chao-Pen, Hamid, Salva is back, as is Nihan, as is Mine. Whoa! You guys rock. You rocked my evening for coming back. So let's say hi to the newbies. We have Jorge. Jorge, it has been months since I last saw you.
You remember me.
Of course. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good too. Where have you been?
Studying.
Studying? You had exams?
Yes, last week I have final exams. Was a strike in my university too, so I was really busy.
Oh, were you protesting? Were you striking? Were you like, I don't want to pay money to school. No.
I was there.
You're like, I was busy protesting. Alrighty. Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're back. And we also have Juan. Hi, Juan.
Hi, Hina. How are you?
I'm great. Juan, that picture that you posted to me, did you take it yourself?
Yeah, I took it yesterday at night when I came back.
It was so beautiful. Adriana, you saw it too. What did you think of it?
I don't know. I think he has like a lot of patience for taking pictures.
Yeah. Do you have a tripod, Juan?
Yes.
Yeah. Cause if I ever try to take a picture at night with a fancy camera, it's always blurry because I don't have a tripod. So I could tell you had fancy equipment. So welcome back, Juan. Nice to have you. And
nice to see you too.
And there's also Donato. Donato, what did you think of the last class? Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
No, I was not ready to catch many words at the same time, no? And when I was writing the empty, there was already the other empty to fill in. Yeah. So it was just crazy.
Yeah, no, it was difficult, definitely. So I'm going to let you guys know that for those of you who were in the earlier class, the listening class, that was sort of to help you prepare for TOEFL. This class is an actual TOEFL exam, okay? So I've taken a sample exam from TOEFL, and we're going to be reading the passage and understanding it and then answering the questions. Okay? So I know a couple of you here are preparing for the TOEFL. Even if you're not, this is really, really good practice, all right? This will tell you what kind of reading your level of reading has to be at if you want to go into like an academic setting, or if you plan on working in an English environment. Okay?
And Hina, can I say my reading passages topics for my exam?
Okay, so Hamid recently wrote his exam, his TOEFL exam. And Hamid, why don't you tell us what were the topics in your exam?
Two are related to archaeological things.
Ecological. Ecological.
Archaeological.
Okay, archaeological. Archaeological.
Archaeological. One is about termite. Do you know termite?
Pyramid?
I will write.
Okay. Archaeological. What is archaeological, guys? Termites. Termites. Yeah, termites. Termites are a kind of bug, all right? For like termites that eat your wood in your house, those are termites. Okay? So one was insects. Yeah, exactly. The little bugs that eat your clothes in the summer. If you don't take care of your clothes, those are termites. Okay? So one passage. Jorge, sorry?
Eat books too?
In books, yes. Termites are basically small bugs, and they eat through our stuff, all right? There's different kinds of termites, but they basically feed on stuff that is organic, so wood, all right? Paper is made from wood, so they'll feed on wood. They'll feed on clothes that are made of cotton. So all these kind of bugs, we call them termites.
Yeah, they have very disturbing noise.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, you can tell. They are not the same as bed bugs, though. You guys know what bed bugs are? Bed bugs.
Have no idea.
Okay.
I think yes.
The little girly
Yeah, go ahead, Juan.
bugs.
Yeah.
That they have a red and black shape. Well, colors.
Colors, exactly.
In their shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bed bugs are specifically insects that live in your bed. If you wake up every morning and this is what you look like,
Ooh.
okay, that's because you have bed bugs, okay? So termites live in your clothes in your closet. Bed bugs live in your bed. If you have these bugs at home, you need to clean your house, okay? That's super dirty. All right.
In New York City, most of the hotels have a bed bug.
Exactly. They don't clean them very often, all right? So go ahead, Hamid.
Last essay is about silversmith.
Silversmith.
Yes.
What is a silversmith?
I don't know.
Oh, you took the exam. How can you not know what a silversmith is?
But one thing compared with silversmiths, and the topic was about 18th century for USA history, and some details, for example, fork or other metallic things.
Okay.
So I cannot remember whole detail.
Okay. What's a goldsmith? What's a goldsmith?
Alchemy or?
Alchemy. Alchemy is a little different. Alchemy has to do with magic, but but it's similar. What do you guys think is, if you want to buy a gold ring for your fiance because you love her so much, then you go to a goldsmith. What does a goldsmith do then?
They do the jewelry.
They make the jewelry. Exactly. A smith, the word smith after any word means that person works with that material. Okay? For example, a goldsmith would work with gold. They would know everything about gold. They would know how to make jewelry. They would know what you can do with gold. Okay? A locksmith, exactly. What's a locksmith, Chowpen?
A locksmith is just He's expert on how to break a locks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you need to get into your dad's safe, you would get a locksmith. Like, I need my father's money. Open this. Okay.
What is Smith?
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jorge.
Smith is a guy.
Yes.
It's a person.
Back in Smith is a name. Smith is a British name, and we call them goldsmith, locksmith, silversmith because, like, in the 17th and 18th century, people who had the name Smith, these are the jobs that they did. Okay, they dealt with metal. Okay, metalsmith. Okay, somebody who makes swords, what would he be called?
Lordsmith.
Swordsmith. Okay. Back in England in the 17th and 18th century, men who had the name Smith, they would do these jobs. So now we call them Smith. So silversmith, someone who works with silver, goldsmith, locksmith, metalsmith, so on and so forth. So these are the topics you guys will have to know about for TOEFL. Okay? So they look pretty difficult. So a silversmith, something to do with archaeology and something to do with termites. All right. So all those preparing for TOEFL, it's not gonna be easy. And TOEFL is apparently easier than IELTS. I don't even know what the IELTS is like. So all right. Okay.
But Hina, the biggest hard is for TOEFL. You can take the exam in front of the computer.
Okay, so that's IBT.
Yes, IBT, internet-based test.
Yes, internet-based testing. All right. So nowadays, TOEFL has become IBT. It is internet-based.
Has the same difficulty? Both has the same difficulty?
Yeah, internet-based and paper-based is said to be the same. Internet-based. Okay, PBT is paper. They only give you a PBT if you live in a country without internet. Okay, I don't know what country that is without internet. No, so whatever country doesn't have internet, that is the only country you will find PBT. But now TOEFL is almost entirely IBT. It's internet based. You have to do it on a computer. I hope when I take TOEFL, all of the materials are related to economics. You wish. You wish, Chowpan.
Unfortunately, no.
No. All right. So let's get started, guys. So we'll get started with today's topic. Now this is a TOEFL exam, and the topic for this one is meteorites and dinosaurs. Okay. I don't know how many of you study meteorites and dinosaurs, but if you don't, the topic is still gonna be there. You can't be like, but I don't study this. Okay. All right. So everybody has the document with them, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. The document is really long. We're not gonna go through all of it. We're only going to do the reading section, which starts on the first page. All right. So let me share my screen so you guys can all see it. Okay. Hamid, how much time do you have for the reading section?
For each essay, you have 20 minutes.
You have 20 minutes for each. You have to read it and answer the questions and then move on to the next one. Okay?
Yes, I have 56 questions.
You had 56 questions, all right? So think about that. You have to read a 2-page essay. You have to understand it, and you have to answer 60 questions about it, all in 20 minutes. Okay.
And Hina, the passages are nearly 700 words.
Yeah. Okay. So just so you guys know, that's what you can expect for your TOEFL exam. All right. So what we're going to do is, just so you guys know, what are these numbers? This number on the side, what is it? 5, 10, 15.
Line numbers.
Line numbers. Okay. So how many lines do you have? You have over 55 lines of text. Okay, so it's quite a lot of writing. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to read. We're going to read this entire passage. We'll read it once, and then you guys tell me what it's about, all right? And then we'll read it again, and we'll talk about the words that you find difficult, what you don't understand, so on and so forth. Okay? So reading section. The sample question in the reading section measure your ability to understand academic passages in English. You will read one passage and answer questions about it. In a real test, you will have 20 minutes to read the passage and answer the questions. Candidates with disabilities may request a time extension. Okay? So our topic is meteorite impact and dinosaur extinction. So let's get Adriana. Can you read just the first paragraph for us?
Okay. There's an increasing evidence that the impacts of meteorites have had important effects on Earth, particularly in the field of biological evolution. Such impacts continue to pose a natural hazard to life on Earth. Twice in 20th century, large meteorite objects are known to have collided with Earth.
Perfect. Thank you, Adriana. Chowpan, can you continue reading? Can you read up till here for us, to line 10?
Okay. If an impact is large enough, it can disturb the environment of the entire Earth and cause a ecological catastrophe.
Catastrophic.
The best documented such impact took place 65 million years ago at the end of Cretaceous period of geological history. This break in Earth history is marked by a mass extinction, when as many as half the species on the planet become extinct.
Perfect. Extinct. Perfect. Thank you for that, Chowpan. Donato, can I get you to finish that paragraph?
Yeah. While there are dozens of more mass extinctions in the geological record, the Cretaceous mass extinction was already intrigued paleontologists because it marks the end of the age of the dinosaurs. For tens of millions of years, those great creatures had flourished. Then suddenly they disappeared.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Okay. What are we talking about? What is this talking about? What is this passage about so far? What do you guys understand from it?
It's about how disappeared the dinosaurs.
How did dinosaurs?
How the dinosaurs disappeared.
Yes, perfect. So this is talking about how the dinosaurs disappeared. So one theory, one way they are saying they disappeared is through a meteorite impact. When was the most recent meteorite impact on Earth?
65 years.
No, most.
65.
Russia.
Most recent. When did it happen right now? Okay? In Russia, exactly. In Russia, in February, we had a meteorite impact, okay? So far, it's saying that a meteorite impact might have made the dinosaurs go extinct, all right? Perfect. Hamid, can you read just this much of the next paragraph?
Okay. The body that impacted Earth at the end of the Cretaceous period. Cretaceous period was a meteorite with a mass of more than 1 trillion tons ions and a diameter of at least 10 kilometers. Scientists first identified the impact in 1980 from the worldwide layer of sediment deposited from the from the dust cloud that enveloped the planet after the impact.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Hamid. Okay, so do you guys think that everything you are reading is everything important? Do you need to memorize all of this?
No, I don't think so.
There is a lot of useless information. Okay, a lot of information you do not need to know. Okay, for example, you do not need to know what the Cretaceous period is. All right, you don't need to know when it happened. You don't need to know the dates. All right, these are, you have to, one of the most important things about taking an exam is knowing what information is irrelevant. A lot of information in this is irrelevant. It is given to you to confuse you. Okay, you basically have to understand what the point of this is. You have to get the bigger picture. You have to understand just what it's talking about. You don't need to worry about the Cretaceous period or where the dinosaurs' bodies were found or any of that. All right, you need to understand what the passage is saying. All right, Jorge, can I get you to finish off that paragraph?
Okay.
This sediment layer.
Okay. This sediment layer is enriched in the rare metal iridium and other elements that are relatively abundant in a meteorite. Relatively abundant in a meteorite, but very rare in the crust of Earth. Even diluted by the terrestrial material excavated from the crater, this component of meteorites is easily identified. By 1990, geologists have located the impact site itself in the Yucatan region of Mexico. The crater, now deeply buried in sediment, was originally about 200 kilometers in diameter.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Do you guys think you need to know any of this information? No. This information, you don't need to be like, okay, what is a sediment layer? What metal is iridium? None of this information is important. Okay? Very often, you just need to understand the words and what they mean. You don't need to memorize any of the actual information given to you. Okay, for example, you don't need to know where the Yucatan region of Mexico is. Okay, if you're like, I don't know where this is, don't worry about it. You don't need to know where it is. Okay, Adriana, is that how you say it? Yucatan region. Okay, all right, next let's get Juan. Can I get you to read this much, the next paragraph? There's some noise coming from somewhere. I think, Jorge, I think that's you. No, it's not you. It's somebody else. There's some noise coming from someone's microphone, like wind or a fan. Okay? So, Juan, go ahead.
Okay. Just a second to mark it here.
That's okay.
This input released an enormous amount of energy, excavating a crater about twice as large as the lunar crater Tycho. The explosion lifted about 100 trillion tons of dust into the atmosphere, as can be determined by measuring the thickness of the sediment layer formed when this dust settled to the surface. Such a quantity of material would have blocked the sunlight completely from reaching the surface, plunging Earth into a period of cold and darkness that lasted at least several months.
Perfect. Very well read. Thank you, Juan. Mine, can I get you to finish that off, please?
Okay. The explosion is also calculated to have produced vast quantities of nitric acid and melted rock that spread out over much of the Earth, starting widespread fires that must have consumed most terrestrial forest and grassland. Presumably, those environmental disasters could have been responsible for the mass extinctions, including the death of the dinosaurs.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Mine. Next, let's get Nihan. Can you read? Yeah, there you go.
Several other mass extinctions.
Sure.
Okay. Several other mass extinctions in the geological record have been tentatively identified with large impacts, but none is so dramatic as the
Cretaceous.
Cretaceous event. But even without such specific documentation, it is clear that impacts of this size do occur and that their result can be catastrophic.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And Salva, can you finish off that paragraph for us?
Okay. What is a catastrophe for one group?
Catastrophe.
Catastrophe for one group of living things, however, may create opportunities for another group. Following each mass extinction, there is the sudden
evolutionary
burst as new species develop to fill the ecological niches opened by the event.
Perfect. Okay, so now that everybody has an opportunity to read, do you guys need to know at each and every detail that is given to you in this?
No.
No? What is the general idea? What is this passage saying? So far that you've read, what is it saying? Who can summarize it for me? Jorge, are you talking? We can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Only this paragraph? I am asking.
Not this paragraph, like the entire passage. So far what we have read, what is it saying?
Okay. Well, it says that dinosaurs
dinosaurs
might be dead, might be killed for a meteorite. But well, for these creatures could be catastrophic, but maybe for others, it's like new ones are in the earth.
Yeah, basically that's it. You need to you have to remember, this is a test of English, all right? When you get to the questions will ask you what certain words mean, not words like what the Cretaceous event was, okay? You don't need to know about Mexico. This is an English exam. You need to focus on words that are giving meaning to this passage, okay? Do not worry about the proper nouns. What are proper nouns? Proper nouns.
Suitable nouns.
Suitable nouns? No.
Cretaceous is a proper noun.
Yeah. For example, names of cities, names of countries, okay? Names of time periods. Nihan is a proper noun, all right? Canada is a proper noun, okay? Chowpan, proper noun. You do not need to worry about proper nouns. Proper nouns are nouns that are names of places and things and people, okay? You do not need to worry about that, okay? You need to worry about what the language is saying. For example, catastrophe. What is a catastrophe for one group, okay? You will need to understand what a catastrophe is, okay? You don't need to know what the catastrophe actually is. Like, what's the catastrophe? That a meteorite impacting one animal will kill it and will not kill the other. No, you need to understand what the word catastrophe means.
Yeah.
Okay? Do not focus on irrelevant information. A lot of people get lost when reading the sections because they focus on irrelevant information that is not important. Okay? Let's finish off this off, and then we'll get to the questions. Okay? Now, for example, look at the question. The word pose on line 2 is closest in meaning to. Okay? Now you have to go back and you have to see. such impacts continue to pose. All right? No, it's not asking you what the impact is. It's asking you what this word means. Okay? You just have to keep in mind that this is an exam of English. Your English is being tested, not your knowledge about dinosaurs or meteorites or what happened when a meteorite hit the earth. That is not what the test is about. The test is a test of English. Okay? Let's get Chao Pen. Chao Pen, can you read this paragraph for us again? Half of it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. The impact released an enormous amount of energy.
No. Impacts by meteorites represent. Oh, we're on the second page. Yeah. That's okay.
45, line 44.
I say, yeah. Impacts by meteorites represent one mechanism that could cause global catastrophes and seriously influence the evolution of life of the planet. According to some estimates, the majority of all extinctions of species may be due to such impacts. Should I? Okay.
Yeah.
Such a perspective fundamentally changes our views of biological evolution.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Chao Pen. Nihan, can you finish that off for us? The standard criterion?
The standard criterion for the survival of a species is its success. Species is its success in competing with other species and adapting to slowly changing environments. Yet an equal important criterion is the ability of a species to survive random global ecological catastrophes due to impacts.
Perfect. Thank you, Nihan. Adriana, can you continue reading into the next paragraph? So this much.
Okay. Earth is a target in a cosmic shooting gallery, subject to random violent events that were unsuspected a few decades ago. In 1991, the United States Congress asked NASA to investigate the hazard posed today by large impacts on Earth.
Hazard posed today. Perfect. And can you finish this off for us, Salva? Can you finish off the group conducting?
Okay. The group conducting the study concluded from a detailed analysis that impacts from meteorites can indeed be hazardous, although there is always some risk that a large impact could occur. Careful study shows that this risk is quite small.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Salva. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this passage? Give me your opinion.
Was interesting.
It was interesting? Okay. What else? What else do you guys think? Did you understand every single thing?
No.
No? Okay.
There are some words that we don't know.
Yeah. There are certain words you don't know. I can tell you because I studied evolution, this is telling you a lot about what evolution is and how evolution happens. Do you think you need to understand that?
No, just to get that.
No. You guys don't need to worry about what happened in some layer of the soil or where impact happened or how evolution happens, okay? This is all irrelevant information. Okay, I know what they're talking about because I studied evolution. If you didn't study evolution and you don't know what they're talking about, that's completely fine. It's irrelevant what they're saying. How they are saying it and the language that they are using, that is important. Okay, so let's go on to our questions. All right, let's do question number 1. The word pose on line 1 is closest in meaning to what? Claim, model, assume, or present. Now to do this, you actually have to go to line 2, okay? you will have to refer to the passage over and over again. You have to be really quick at this. You have to be like, okay, pose in line 2, go to line 2, now read it. Okay? Such impacts continue to pose a natural hazard to life on Earth. Okay? Now, what does it mean to pose? Just tell me in your own words. What is this sentence saying? Who'd like to tell me?
To show.
To show. Okay. Sorry.
To put.
To put. All right. So such impacts continue to put or to, Hamid, what did you say?
Show.
To show a natural hazard to life on Earth. Do you need to know what these impacts are? Such impacts. Do you need to know that? No. You don't need to know what the impacts are. You just need to know that whatever these impacts are, they continue to put a natural hazard to life on Earth. Okay? Now let's go back down. So, based on what we just read, which word is closest in meaning to pose?
Present.
Present. Exactly. They present a natural hazard. What is a hazard? What's another word for hazard?
Dangerous.
Danger. Perfect.
Danger.
Yeah. So if you guys don't... Sorry, Jose?
Poisonous?
Poisonous. Okay. Poisonous is a very specific danger. Poison is like when you, for example, when a snake bites you. Okay, then you get poisoned. Okay, danger can be any danger. Danger can be disease, it can be an earthquake, it can be a car crash. Anything that is dangerous is hazardous. Okay, poisonous is very specific. It's danger by poison. Okay, if you guys don't know these meanings, if you're like reading this and you're like, such impacts continue to pose a natural hazard to life on Earth, you can switch out the difficult words. Look at the word hazard, okay? Another name for hazard is danger. So such impacts continue to present a natural danger to life on Earth, okay? You guys need to do, this is why it is so important to build your vocabulary. A threat, exactly, a threat. A hazard, a danger, a threat. This is why it is important to have a vast vocabulary. So if you don't know what one word means, you can switch it out for an easier synonym. A risk.
Hina,
Yeah, go ahead.
in this sentence, hazard is a noun or is an adjective?
Okay, let's have a look. Such impacts continue to pose a natural hazard. Okay? Noun.
It's a
What
noun.
is the adjective?
Natural.
Natural, exactly. Hazard is the noun. What kind of hazard? A man-made hazard or a natural hazard? A natural hazard. Okay?
Okay.
All right?
Thanks.
Well, yeah, so, okay. All right. So you guys understand what it means to pose? To pose means to present. Okay? So, Chow Pan, let me pose you an economic question. Okay? Let me present to you an... Why don't I have any money? Okay?
Because the U.S. Economic depression just come to the Canada, influence your economics, and you didn't have the working opportunity, and yeah, actually you didn't got the lottery. It is the solution.
Thank you for telling me why I am poor. So yeah, so if I say, Chow Pan, I am posing you a question. I am presenting a question to you. Okay? So basically, now, and yeah, this is why it's very, very important to build your vocabulary. That's why there are classes that are classes where you learn synonyms. Attend those classes, okay? Synonyms will save your life, okay? If I had a class and I said, okay, what are some words for hazard? And somebody said danger, somebody said threat, somebody said risk, you would know that that is what hazard means. And in an exam, you would be able to switch hazard out for an easier word. Okay? Let's go on to the second question. Now, again, in paragraph 2, why does the author include the information that dinosaurs had flourished? What does flourished mean? Flourished.
Kind of
Like
develop
his,
or
the best years.
Yes, they lived and they grew. to, for example, in the spring, flowers flourish. Okay, in the spring, flowers grow, they bloom. Okay, they're best in the spring. So the information that dinosaurs had flourished, that they had been alive and they had continued to live for tens of millions of years and then suddenly disappeared. Okay, so again, you don't need to know a lot of details. You need to know, why is the author saying that? Okay, why would he say that? These are some explanations. So let's read paragraph 2. Now you're going to have to go and read paragraph 2. Okay? If an impact is large enough, it can disturb the environment of the entire planet and cause an ecological catastrophe. What is an ecological catastrophe?
Ecological disaster.
Exactly. You don't need to know what ecological catastrophe it can cause. You just need to know anything that happens. What is ecology? Ecology.
Related with
environment.
Environment.
Exactly. Ecology is anything related to the environment. Okay? The best documented such impact took place 65 million years ago at the end of the Cretaceous period of geological history. You don't need to know what Cretaceous period is, okay? You just need to know that something happened 65 million years ago. That's it. This break in Earth's history is marked by a mass extinction, when as many as half the species on the planet became extinct. Okay? What is this break? When he says this break, what is he talking about?
Like the end of a continuity, no?
Yeah.
This break, this disaster?
Yeah, the end of an era. Okay? Era is a time period. For example, the era of the dinosaurs, the time period in which the dinosaurs lived. Age, exactly, age. So this break in Earth's history, the end of a time period, is marked by a mass extinction. So the Cretaceous period ended when the dinosaurs went extinct, and half of the species on the planet went extinct as well. Okay? While there are a dozen or more mass extinctions in the geological record, the Cretaceous mass extinction has always intrigued paleontologists because it marks the end of the age of the dinosaurs. Okay? Somebody say this in easy words. There's so many words here. Say it in easier words. What did the sentence just say? Go ahead, Nihan.
It said something happened, some catastrophic event happened, and it closed an era, and when the dinosaur
went extinct. When the dinosaurs went extinct.
Went extinct or disappeared, dozens of species disappeared with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. And it says here, so this sentence, okay, this sentence is basically saying that for people who study dinosaurs, this was very important. That is all that this sentence is saying. Okay, while there are a dozen or more mass extinctions, so even though there are lots of other events in history where animals went extinct, this particular extinction has always intrigued. Word for intrigued is interested. Okay? Interested. Paleontologists. Okay. Now, if you don't know what a paleontologist is, that's okay. You can guess it from this passage.
Scientist.
What do you think? What kind of scientist?
They studied about history or archaeology.
Okay, archaeology has to do with studying old civilizations. Okay, so did paleontologists study civilizations? Did they study about the Romans and the Incans and the Egyptians?
No.
No? Okay, Mine. So what did paleontologists study?
Extinct animals, or?
Yeah, exactly. Paleontology is specifically the study of dinosaurs. Okay? If you don't know what a paleontologist is, that's fine. What are we talking about in this? We are talking about dinosaurs. Would you talk about an economist in this passage? Would
No.
you say this extinction has always intrigued economists?
Nope.
No. Would you say it has always intrigued geologists?
No.
No, okay. You would say that an extinction of dinosaurs, who would be interested in an extinction of dinosaurs?
Paleontologists.
Yes, people who study dinosaurs, right? Exactly, right? If the economy crashes, would you call a biologist to investigate?
No.
No. Who would you call?
Economist.
Exactly. All right. So if the dinosaurs went extinct and you wanted to know how they went extinct, you would want to call somebody who studies dinosaurs. So somebody who studies dinosaurs is a paleontologist. A paleontologist would be intrigued by an extinction of dinosaurs. Okay? You guys understand? This is how you're expected to figure out words that you don't know. Okay? If you don't know what a paleontologist is, look at the passage. What are you talking about? You're talking about dinosaurs. Hence, paleontologists who are interested in dinosaurs study about dinosaurs. Okay? So the Cretaceous mass extinction has always interested paleontologists because it marks the end of the age of the dinosaurs. Why is this Cretaceous mass extinction so interesting? What does it do?
Because one era is closed and others is
Yes. Which era ended?
and the Greco. I cannot read it that one.
No. The Cretaceous, yeah, it ended, but why was it so important? What did it mark the end of?
Because the dinosaurs disappeared.
Exactly. It was so important because it was after this era that there were no more dinosaurs. Okay? You don't need to know. Okay, this is a good example. You don't need to know that the Cretaceous era was important. You need to know that the era in which the dinosaurs died, that is the important era. You don't need to worry about what its name is. Like I said, do not focus on proper nouns. Proper nouns are not important. What they are talking about is important. Okay? Cretaceous era was very important. Why? Because it was the Cretaceous era. No, that's not the answer to the question. The answer to the question is because the dinosaurs died in the Cretaceous era. You understand? You guys understand what is important and what isn't? Proper nouns are never important, okay? Ever. What they are talking about is important. For tens of millions of years, those great creatures had flourished, then suddenly they disappeared. Okay? Now, let's go back to our question. Our question was, in paragraph 2, why does the author include the information that dinosaurs had flourished for tens of millions of years and then suddenly they disappeared? What is this paragraph talking about? This entire paragraph, we just talked about it. What is it talking about?
The what is the called? The I cannot talk today. The people who works interested in dinosaurs, they looking for the reason why the dinosaur is not exist anymore.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Paleontologist, that's how you say it. Yeah, paleontologist, somebody who studies fossils. Thank you for that, Donato. Okay, so at the end, so we're talking about the impact is large enough that it can cause a disturbance in the entire earth. Okay, so this entire paragraph is telling you about when the dinosaurs lived. Okay, and then at the end, the author says that these dinosaurs lived for so many years and then they disappeared. So why did he say that? Okay, let's look at our choices. To support the claim that the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous is the best documented of the dozen or so mass extinctions in the geological record. Did he say it because the Cretaceous era is the best documented?
No.
No. Even though it is the best documented, it's not the most important because it is best documented. Go ahead, Juan.
Oh, no, I was just going to mention if it was the.
Mention it. The end. Okay, yeah. The end of the Cretaceous.
No, the
D. Oh,
is
the
D.
answer. Oh, the answer is D. Okay. Let's go through all of them. Okay. So we know that he is not saying it because the Cretaceous is the best documented era. Okay. B. To explain why as many as half of the species on Earth at the time are believed to have become extinct at the end of the era. Is that why he's saying it?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
No. And he's not saying that. Okay. C. To explain why paleontologists have always been interested by the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous.
Yeah.
There.
Yes.
I think this is the right.
Yes. C is
For me, it's
correct.
right.
Yeah.
C is correct. Okay. Here, let's go back. Let's read it again. Dinosaurs lived on the earth for so many years, for millions of years, and then they died. Why? They died because the Cretaceous era marked the end of their life. It was the end of the era. Okay? For tens of millions of years, those great creatures have flourished, then suddenly they disappeared. This thing has always interested paleontologists. Okay, this is why paleontologists find this era to be very interesting. Okay, do you understand, Juan? Why it's C and not D? Let's read what D is as well. To provide evidence. Is there evidence that an impact can be large enough to disturb the environment? This thing is said over here. Is this important?
No.
No, not at all.
They don't provide any proof.
Yes, exactly. There's no proof. The only proof is that after the Cretaceous period, there were no more dinosaurs. And paleontologists don't know why that is. They don't understand. Okay? Which is why they are so interested in that era. You guys see how you need to process the information? The information has not to be processed like, oh, I need to memorize everything. You don't have to memorize anything. You just need to understand what is being said from the point of the language of English, okay? You don't need to know what the topic is. Yeah, go ahead, Hamid.
We should be aware of the keywords.
Exactly. What are the keywords? What do you got? Okay, so let's see. Let's have a look in paragraph 2. What are the keywords? What would you guys think are keywords?
For example,
Ecological
Cretaceous-
catastrophe.
Sorry, Karnihan? Okay, ecological catastrophe.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do you guys think are keywords? Hamid?
Dinosaurs.
Okay, dinosaurs, yeah. What else?
Paleontologists.
Yes, intrigued paleontologists, all right? If you don't know what intrigued means, you need to switch it out for another word. You can only switch it out for another word if you have a good vocabulary, okay? And if you don't know what intrigued means, you can think intrigued means scared, okay? But it doesn't. It means interested, okay? Intrigued paleontologist. You don't need to know what has intrigued them. You just need to know that, like, what era. The name of the era is not important, okay? Do you need to know that it happened 65 million years ago?
No.
No, that's irrelevant information. It happened many years ago. We don't need to know the exact number, okay? Right? So I'm not gonna go on anymore because we're almost out of time. But do you guys see how hard it can be if you're not familiar with a good vocabulary?
Hina,
Yeah.
can I ask something? Including reading this paragraph and answering how many questions?
About 50 questions.
How many time we had for this exam?
20 minutes.
Each passage is for
20
20 minutes, yeah.
Because you are doing IBT, the passage will disappear after 20 minutes. You won't be able, like, it's not like paper where you're like, oh, I'm gonna take my time doing this. No, after
Actually, it's not
reading
Sorry, a minute.
It's not disappear, but your time, you have to use your time in prepare.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you cannot answer all questions.
For reading, 20 minutes.
No, for reading and answering the questions, 20 minutes. Each passage is 20 minutes. So everything related to that passage, you have 20 minutes to do it. Read, understand, and answer questions. 20 minutes.
And Hina, one side is the reading essay and one side is questions.
Yes.
I mean, you can see the reading, so you can combine with your answers.
Exactly. So you can the passage will always be in front of you. It's not like over right now we're going up and down. The passage will be on one side of the screen, and your questions will be on the other side of the screen. So you will always be able to see your passage, and then you can change the questions. Okay?
It is not true.
Really?
You cannot see whole passage. You can see part of the passage.
Okay.
But you have to go scroll down up all the time, and that is really torture. And
when I took my TOEFL, I took it 8 years ago, and the passages were not this long. The passages were only half a page.
yeah, now is really headache.
And anyway, 20 minutes is not
Very
enough,
less.
I
Yeah.
guess.
We just spent an entire class just talking about a passage, okay?
And answering only 2 questions. But
Exactly.
but I understand you try to show the way how we solve these exams. But 20 minutes, oh, I will
It's
not.
very
get-
short. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very. That's why people write this exam multiple times, okay? It's use your time wisely. Exactly, Adriana. The most important thing about this section is don't get confused with irrelevant information, okay? That is the biggest piece of advice that will benefit you. Don't get confused with information that you don't need to know, okay?
But,
Don't be like...
another problem is focusing on our concentration ability.
Yes,
because
exactly.
sometimes when I was in the exam, I lived going and up and down.
Yeah. Okay. There's lots of preparation that goes into writing for your TOEFL.
I just think we need a lot of vocabulary, because when we think one vocabulary, we can lose a lot of time. It's hard.
Yes, vocabulary is very important, all right? If you don't know what a word means, it's okay. You're like, oh, hazard, I don't know what that means, but I know it means the same thing as danger, okay? That's why a wide vocabulary is important, all right? I'm gonna finish class now. That's the end of class. If you guys